Welcome to Sea and Free Studio. This is the place where you come to discover what makes you unique, special, and different. That thing that drives you, that propels you forward in good times and bad. And sometimes we uncover our USD in times of transition or in high-stakes situations. And our guest today knows both very well. Rome Ruiz, Captain Rome Ruiz, is a San Antonio native. He grew up not too far from where I did in Texas. He's a decorated senior executive military officer with 28 years of experience. He's led $6 billion worth of strategic and crisis organizations of elite sailors and Marines while taking care of their families back home. He has successfully navigated some of the most stressful times and environments throughout the world, including a home full of females. He's got a wife, Hillary, and 4 daughters. Rome is preparing for a transition to civilian life in a few months, and I can't wait to hear how his USD will guide him through this transition. Please welcome Rome Ruiz.
Hey, thanks, Jen. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here, and thank you for the invite.
Yes, thank you. And Rome, you and I met a couple years ago down in San Diego at the naval base, and you gave us a tour of the naval base and the aircraft carrier, and it was wonderful to see the environment that you've spent the last, 28 plus years in. You want to tell everybody what you're doing these days and up there in DC?
Well, so I actually just turned over my recent job here, and I'm preparing to transition out of the military, and which would mean really retirement. And for a couple of reasons. One is I've missed way too many birthdays and anniversaries, and so my wife Hillary, I think it's probably time to start enjoying those more. And then the other is I felt like I've made quite a bit of difference in the military, and now I feel that I want to make a big difference in the civilian world, and so we're looking forward to that.
Yes, and I think you will. I mean, you know, as you're preparing for this transition and thinking about, what makes you unique, special, and different and how you're going to carry that forward, what do you think that is?
Well, I think that maybe it started in probably an early age, but I think being comfortable, being uncomfortable has been something that I've been used to for a long time, and whether that's been in environments that have been very challenging, and feeling at home in those environments has been something I think that has helped me, be successful and help the team be successful. And I think that that'll carry on into the next chapter, and whether that's with my family and being uncomfortable doing something. Or being comfortable doing something uncomfortable, as going out to the civilian world is something that we really look forward to.
Yeah, and I've met your family, and I think you will definitely have lots to enjoy. Your girls are amazing, and they have such amazing energy, and Hillary as well. So, as you think about this next step, how do you want to bring that comfort with the uncomfortable to life in your next steps?
I think that, I've learned a lot, particularly when I've been in uncomfortable situations. And I think that, as I've, tried to raise, 4 daughters and having them kind of find themselves and being, comfortable, being uncomfortable amongst themselves, especially since they've been just doing it for so long. We've moved 18 times in the last 28 years, and so going into different environments and thriving in those environments have been really great. Watching them do that, I think what it does, what it provides is it provides opportunity to grow as they get put into different environments, and they've just kind of have to figure those things out. And they've got to use a lot of different tools that they've learned to have over the years, and whether that's just being learning to put themselves out there and communicate with folks, particularly in different countries where they can't speak the language, different environments, whether it be in the ocean or in the middle of the U.S. or whatnot. It's been just awesome seeing that. I think the other part of this is the military piece of it, and these stressful situations, I think that there's a lot of opportunity to really just impart on folks what I've learned throughout the years in life and death situations. And I think that that's probably been the most uncomfortable piece, is being put in those situations and having to persevere through those. And at the end of the day, it eventually works itself out. It might not work itself out the way you want it to, but I think that's kind of what gives me solace and comfort in it, that those situations are going to work themselves out regardless. But we want to shape and influence those as much as we can.
Is there anything that access inside yourself, or something you say to yourself or do when you're in those moments to help you find that resolve and find that comfort in some pretty high stress situations?
Yeah, I think I've thought about it. Especially after those circumstances, I have one of the things that I do with my teams is we talk through those situations and we learn as much as we can. I also do a lot of self reflection after those particular situations, and whether it's in my cabin, in my captain's cabin, or whether it's out on outside the ship when it's calm finally. I think that what I've found is there's a commonality with a number of things that can keep you calm, and for me, it's there is. There is listening, a lot of listening that goes on during these situations. There's sensing that goes on. You kind of look at the environment and you get a sense of what things are developing. There is there's a confidence piece to this coming up. You need to, as a leader, be able to come up into these situations, and people I feel, need to feel like someone is in charge, but that they have a voice. So there's some approachability there, so that they can relay how they feel about things. So all those things kind of come together in order to get through those uncomfortable situations. But I think it's just also a little bit of humor. Some people probably that I've led have said, maybe have thought to themselves, is this the perfect time to be joking about something? I wouldn't say joking. It certainly depends on the situation, but I think there's some levity to be had, and to calm people down as they deal with these stressful situations.
Yeah, we had a previous guest, Aviva. She's a celebrity stylist, and she was talking a little bit about that too, how she brings levity to her job because it's such a serious profession, and people take it very seriously, and she brings that levity. And it's good to hear you echo that somebody obviously of your leadership of such what could be a very serious situation and serious role, bringing a little bit of levity to that, and listening. And I like to hear a little bit more about that. Is there anyone from your perspective that you listened to and that you admire, that kind of helped you become a better leader?
I think that there's probably a number of folks, and it's just kind of compounded throughout the years. My parents, and just their way of raising me to be independent, and to also be accountable and responsible for the things that I've done. Whether as a child and even as an adult. And then of course my spouse, with Hillary, she is, as you very well know, she is, she balances me out very well and is a great sounding board. But I think that family has a huge part in the development of particularly with me throughout the years. And then as I think through professionally, I've had a number of mentors throughout the years, and some of them have been senior officers, and some of them have been junior subordinates that I've learned from. And I think that a number of folks might think that, hey, I'm going to get a lot out of the folks that have been through a lot of things already. For example, senior leaders, but there is so much to get from the junior folks as well. and to kind of hear them and what their perspective is. And I think that's really been the fun part of this is I've developed, throughout the years. Uh, it's easy to go ask for help from the senior folks because you look up to them, but I also look up to my kids, and I look up to those junior subordinates who who might have life a lot harder than me or think that they do, and being able to listen to them and learn from them, I think is just as important.
Yeah. And they need you. They need you to listen to them. And I think one of the things we've heard from a lot of leaders that have already come on the show is how important listening is, and learning from everyone around you. And I'm assuming that especially in situations you found yourself in, it's particularly helpful. Rome, can you tell me a time, when you found yourself challenged or facing a big decision or circumstance, and you were able to lean on your USD?
I think that one that comes to mind that I think quite often about, particularly is there's just a lot of need throughout the world right now. Is I was captain of a ship out in the Persian Gulf, and had a great crew doing great things out there. But it's a pretty tense environment, and so we were driving. My ship was driving by a fisherman that we had seen, and the water was just completely glass. There was no wind, and he was just kind of sitting there. And it was a little odd because usually the fishermen are pretty active out there, and there was just nobody out on deck. And then all of a sudden, as we got a little closer, and at that point in time, there was a lot of tension with suicide boats out there. So there were directives and stuff about being cautious on any sort of suspicious looking boat. So everything we saw out there seemed to be suspicious, and but this particular one. We went up, we came along, not alongside of it, but probably a few hundred yards away, and this fisherman comes out, and he's holding an individual, like a young man, and he was just completely limp, and is holding up, and as I'm looking through my binoculars, the gentleman's screaming and crying, and so we weren't sure if he was luring us to come closer or if it in fact was a medical emergency, and so I had to do some quick thinking. A lot of my leaders on the ship were advising, hey, I think we should call it in, but not get too close. And of course it's summertime out there, and it's 120 degrees, and so I made the decision to send my medical team over there, and putting our sailors at risk. But one of the things that a captain is charged with is providing assistance at sea, and so we had to balance the dangers of being out in that environment with my responsibilities as a captain to make sure that we're providing rescue or assistance when needed. And so we put a boat in the water. We sent a medical team with our doc over there, and come to find out that individual was completely dehydrated, was on the verge of dying. They had no water on the boat, no fuel. They were out there stranded. No food, and so we took care of that individual, got an IV in them, and were able to point them in the right direction once we provided fuel and water to them. And so the situation could have gone a totally different way. Took some risk, but as a captain of the ship, you manage risk, and that one was worth managing. Our sailors were super proud to help, and it just brings some reality to the humanity of being able to do those things, and do the right things, even when the circumstances might dictate otherwise.
Yeah, I thank you for sharing that story, and thank you for saving that man. And it reinforces the importance of leaning on your humanity in those moments. And like you said, you're unique, special, and different, being uncomfortable, and to go into those uncomfortable situations, you do have to take risks, and a testament to your leadership and to your teams for doing that and saving a life. So thank you.
It was great.
As you think about what you expect to learn from your daughters in the next coming years, as you have a little bit more time at home, what do you think
Yeah.
that's going to be like? Yeah.
I know that you have boys, and boys and the boys and the girls are can be two different things. But I've learned um, I've learned a lot about patience, um, and patience in different ways. Patience in watching them develop, and me not jumping too quickly into their lives and letting them learn through their success and through their challenging times. And you got to let them fall sometimes. And I always tell them, I said, look, there's toughness and there's resiliency, and I try to explain a little bit of the difference when I say, hey, if you're resilient, you fall down and you get back up. If you're tough, you can take a punch. You don't necessarily fall down. You can kind of take a punch and get back after it. And sometimes, you just can't fall down, can't afford to fall down. You just gotta get through it. And but with the girls, it can be different. It's made me find my more sensitive side, perhaps, and I think that that's helped me a lot as a leader. But just watching them grow and experience all the different things that they're going through has been great, and then just keeping me accountable for as a parent, and making sure that they're going to be responsible adults, and ultimately I hope serve others well in their life.
Yes, we were just talking about that, about how our kids hold us accountable. I too am learning patience. You said I have the boys, and you've met my boys, and boys and girls are different. We're learning a lot about them as they're growing up, and I love that kids do that for us. They keep us humble, they keep it real, and they keep us on top of our toes, which is great. Well, this is a part of the show where I like to ask a random question. And the cool thing about this is that you get to pick a number, and whatever number you choose is what question I will ask.
Great.
So a number between 1 and 25.
Okay. I think I'll pick 4, the number 4.
Ooh, love it. Okay, this is a good one. I like this one. What was once a no that you now know was the yes in your life? So what was a time that felt like a no that now you say yes to?
Wow. Well, I think and I'll kind of bring this back to my from a professional standpoint, is one of the things that I had mentioned before was being comfortable and then being uncomfortable. I've been comfortable being a military officer and serving our great country for years, and that's been great. And there's been times throughout my career that I've thought about either retiring or getting out, and maybe that's been almost every year. I don't know, but there's been really hard times, and whether it be deployments and those type of things that really reset me on whether I wanted to continue or not. And so, but ultimately it came down to a no at those particular moments, and that I wanted to continue serving our country, and I knew the sacrifices that were going to be in place, with the family. And so it's been quite a no for the last 28 years. And just recently, it just came, to the point where nothing in particular that's stressed us as a family. It just felt right to be able to say yes, that yes, it's time to retire. Yes, it's time to make a difference in a different organization. Yes, it's time to be uncomfortable again, going out and from our comfort zone of the military and service to a different service or a different organization. So I think that this has been really within the past couple of months, an inflection point for our family, and particularly for me, to get out of my comfort zone and to pursue a different career.
Yes. Well, and I think, with everything you've learned and done for our country, we will only benefit even more from having you working in different organizations and helping us all learn about leadership and how to get uncomfortable and push ourselves to be better. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to do next and being a part of that. One of the things, though, you are still doing is supporting military families, and one of them, the organizations you're supporting, is the Navy and Marine Corps Relief Society. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So the Navy Marine Corps Relief Society is a nonprofit organization that's been around for quite a while. And a little bit of the history behind it is when our nation was just coming into being, and we stood up a Navy. The country really couldn't pay for benefits and all the things that we have today. And so, even at an early stage, even though it wasn't a society yet, there was opportunity there to help our service members, and it's just kind of developed throughout the years. And what this particular organization does is it provides financial assistance and education to our sailors, our Marines, widows, widowers, survivors. And what I really like about it is it's something that I've contributed to for years. The sailors and the Marines contribute to it as well, and because they see the value in it. And not only do you get can a service member or somebody get financial assistance, whether it be through maybe they've got emergency leave they need to take, maybe they're deployed and they need to get back home, and the military doesn't pay for that person to come back home necessarily. And so, then maybe it's an unplanned financial burden. But there's grants, there's loans, no interest loans, those type of things. But the other piece that I really enjoy is that they do a lot of financial counseling and teaching sailors and Marines and families to be more responsible with their finances, so that they don't put themselves in those positions. And I think that is something that I've seen throughout the many years that I've been in command, where there's just a lack of education for a lot of our junior folks coming from high school, college, or whatever, and they just haven't had that counseling to really make sure that they're taking care of themselves later. And so that's another big part of the Navy Marine Corps Society is that education piece. But the immediate needs of families being met in emergencies is they're always available through the Navy Marine Corps Society, and I really admire the work that they do for our young sailors and Marines.
Well, it sounds like a great organization, and I didn't know much about the history of it, so thank you for educating us and letting us know all the great work they're doing. I'm going to ask viewers, please, to support the society and help our military family members, with everything, it sounds like, that they need to keep going and keep protecting our country. So please, you'll see again at the end of the show the QR code. You just have to take your phone, take a picture, and it'll take you right to the site so that you can donate to this organization and raise your awareness and share it with others. And Rome, I'm glad that you have served our country, and I'm glad that you're going to get to spend more time with your family and your beautiful girls and Hillary. And I want to wish you well, and I'm so excited, like I said, to see what you do next, and let me know if there's anything I can do to make that happen so that we can bring more of you to the rest of the world.
I really appreciate it, Jen. Thank you. It's been an honor, and I'm just so excited to see your sabbatical and the thoughts that you've been doing over the last year, and what you're doing now to really shine a light on things that are super important, and to reach out to folks that maybe find themselves in a really tough spot or trying to figure out what they want to do. And I think this is a really valiant effort to promote that. So thank you for everything that you and your family are doing too.
Thank you, and thanks for your inspiration, and I know it will help many of our viewers who are trying to find that thing within themselves right now, that source of resilience, as you talked about. And so with that, this is the end of our show. I want to thank everyone for watching Sea and Free Studio. You can always find us at seaandfreestudio.com on YouTube or LinkedIn. We want to see you every week meeting amazing guests like Rome Ruiz and others. So please come back and see us.